You've tuned into the Bellingham podcast for the week of November 4th, 2018. This is episode 99. From that city by the overcast Salish Sea, I am AJ Barse.
And fully dressed in a winter parka, I am Chris Powell. On this episode, after 98 shows, AJ and I are very thankful to be able to be doing what we do, having a conversation about stuff that interests us and the community in which we live. We want to give thanks 3 weeks ahead of the holiday to some people and places who have made this show a success. Plus, we'll take a peek at what we're working on as the year winds down. 99 podcast episodes on the wall, 99 podcasts for all. Take one down, tune in, let us begin. This is the Bellingham Podcast.
Wow, you went with that reference? I would have gone 99 red podcasts floating in the internet sky.
99 left podcasts, maybe?
How you doing, Chris?
I'm feeling rather saucy right now in a well-familiar location. AJ Barse, photographer at large. Where the heck are we?
Well, by that chamber of echoes and that sweet sound of steamed milk, we are at the Barkley Monstrosity,
That's
also
right.
known as the Barkley Village Woods Coffee House.
That's right. We've recorded a number of episodes out of the 99 now. Over here in 3008 Cinema Place, right here in Bellingham, Washington. For those of you that have your Maps app and are really wanting to go see where we're at, we're in the upstairs room overlooking the Regal Cinemas Stadium 16. I say that every time because it's just in big, bold red letters. But anyway, it's great to be here, and it's great to be among one of Bellingham's finest.
So Chris.
Yes.
Let me just interject right now.
Okay.
Because I have not been able to say this for several episodes. What the heck are you drinking?
So, we talked about discipline the past few, 20 episodes.
Yeah.
This is an exercise of not having discipline. So at Woods Coffee, I'm standing in line behind you, and I have my typical bottle of seltzer. And I'm looking around at the numerous pictures of drinks available for us, and I'm like, oh my goodness, what is that? And I happen to see I kid you not, ladies and gentlemen, so we're recording this after Halloween.
Yes.
There's a picture, I guess their daily special or whatever, is a candy cane shake.
No, candy corn.
Candy corn shake, yes. Not candy cane, that would be Christmas time. Candy corn shake, the yellow and orange candies from Halloween in a shake. And I'm like, self, you got to try it. So I got me a 12 ounce of this candy corn shake.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me describe to you something. Chris is drinking, out of a straw, mind you,
Yep.
a brown drink with whipped cream and yellow and orange sprinkles. There's sprinkles, folks.
Because
There's
I
sprinkles.
can't get enough sugar in my life. Anyway, it's tasty. It is exactly what a growing boy needs in the morning to fuel him for the day. But unfortunately,
the afternoon, bro.
I am a grown boy, and this is going to keep me awake at night. So sorry, honey. I'm going to be
Sorry,
tossing
Chris's wife.
I'm going to be tossing and turning tonight. Anyway, what are you drinking, AJ?
I am drinking a Thai tea. No.
Chai tea
Chai
latte.
tea. There we go. Chai tea latte. It's been a long week,
Yeah,
folks.
it's been a heck of a week.
Anyway, salute. The 99 episodes.
Salud, plastic against ceramic.
So,
Cheers.
so this episode is actually the cap of the episodes that you're going to hear from Chris and I. Our 100th episode has been previously recorded with a special guest. So tune in next week for whom that is. But so this is our final hurrah for this 100 episodes. And Chris and I wanted to take this episode and dedicate it to you.
You, the listeners, and those of you that are subscribing to us on your podcast app of choice, thank you so much for continuing to allow us to invade your ears with my lower pitched voice and AJ's not as low.
Over-caffeinated voice.
Over-caffeinated voice, yes. But in addition to you listening at home or in your car or at work or maybe around Bellingham on the terrestrial radio 102.3 FM.
KMRE.
Low power. Community radio. This shake is really messing with my mental processes.
You're killing me, Smalls.
There are also a number of other people and places that we want to thank because once you do something for a long time, there's a whole lot of people that are part of this story that is the Bellingham Podcast. So, AJ, on your list, who would you like to start off thanking?
Well, I think we should start with our wives for tolerating us for being away from them and the family for 30 minutes every week.
I will see that. I will also start off, at least on my side, by thanking the God that I worship for blessing this opportunity. And I want to also thank my wife for putting up with me for the past 2+ years that we've been doing this and listening to, where I'm making her listen to the show when she doesn't want to listen to it. It's only 5:45 in the morning, honey. Why don't you want to listen to the show? Anyway, so thanks to my wife and AJ's wife for being right there with us and supporting us. Who's next?
So let's start with the caffeine brigade that we have rated in this town. I want to give a shout out to Tony's Coffee because their beans are the goods, especially Ganesh. They're the ones that usually are the beans that I serve you when you come over to my house.
That's correct.
I make a nice drink out of that
the
Chimera.
Homebrew.
Yes, the
yes,
homebrew.
Indeed. I want to thank Primer Coffee, Angela and crew.
Yeah.
Have been very hospitable to us as we recorded an episode or so. We actually got one of the baristas or one of the servers staff in an impromptu interview about Primer when it first opened. So thank you for being part of the Bellingham podcast story. Primer Coffee, right next to Elizabeth Station, downtown Bellingham.
All of these, by the way, are non-paid endorsements.
Yeah, no, we don't get any money from these folks. Actually, we're giving them money so we can buy a drink to be able to record our show. There's no kickbacks or anything like that.
But Chris and I have had people reach out to us in the community saying like, hey, we love the show. How do I get an ad on your show? And as Chris and I have always said on the show,
we don't do ads.
We don't do ads. But going in, looking at the next 100 episodes, Chris and I are opening up opportunities for community partners. And that's who I want to thank right now is all of these partners, the last 100 episodes who've let us come into their places, sometimes announced, sometimes unannounced, and record shows. And for future, if you're a local business or local entity here in the city of Subdued Excitement and you like our show, and you want to talk to us about perhaps partnering for future episodes, if you go to our website, BellinghamPodcast.com, as some of you have already done, there is a contact form. You can reach out to us, and we'll definitely look into that further in the future.
Stay tuned for what we got up our sleeves. I think we think you'll like it.
Yeah.
I want to also thank a couple other venues around town. Letter Streets Coffee was one of the early venues that we were able to record.
And we did a video there.
And we shot a video there. That's right. And also we want to thank the Woods Coffee franchise because there are a number of venues that we have recorded live on location, not just here in front of the movie theater, y'all, but elsewhere. So.
Yeah, especially the roastery. Remember that we did
we went to the Lakeway Woods
opened.
Roastery. Yeah, exactly, and got a little bit of an inside view as we're recording on how they're watching them roast those beans.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Also, we had a chance to go into Fairhaven and do a little bit of a maker interview tour, and we want to thank Erica from Art Wood in Fairhaven. She's the glue. That's right. She's the glue from making the community artists display their woodworking talents in Fairhaven.
Yep. And also on that same vein, I can't thank them enough. Found Leather Goods, Nikki, you are always the goods in my book.
Absolutely.
They're down right there in Fairhaven as well. So let's also segue a little bit. There is a coffee house on our roster that is unfortunately no longer with us, the Union. Remember the Union?
Yes, I remember the Union. There was a couple pictures we were able to get early on. Those were the days.
Yeah, those were the days.
That was all on the family intro reference, by the way. Great venue, and we're sad to see it go. But it's wonderful that in Bellingham there are 5,000 coffee establishments to choose from to be able to, enjoy a cuppa and also to record a show. So big thanks to the Union for being able to be there for us as well.
Yeah. So I'm going to branch out a little bit from our local vibe and hit up some of the listeners that I've talked to through the show. I want to start off with all the way over across the water, across the Atlantic, Erica from Erica's Originals.
Yes.
She gave us some inside scoop on a product that she was making. She makes watch straps. And that was really cool of her to send us that and to give us that heads up. So, Erica, you're still the goods, and you still have a standing invitation if you ever decide to do interviews for podcasts.
That's right. We love to be able to take a moment or two of your time to ask about the watch strap business and your workflow and how you get your creative juices flowing. Also, along those lines, want to give a shout out to Terry from Toxic Natos, one of the fine people that gave us an intro to our show.
Yes!
And that was just awesome, because normally it's just AJ and me, but we've had a couple special introductions from people, and that was really kind. So anyway, Terry from Toxic Natos, I only own 2 watch straps for my Seiko SKX 007. That's the, I don't want to say that word, but it's an all black Toxic Natos strap. And it's the
you can say shiznit. That's radio.
Can I say that?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay, I think you just did.
I just did. So we're gonna say it's the shiznit.
And I got the dark gray one. I just love them to death. So Terry, thank you so much for what you do and what you provide, such a great quality product for the Watch Fam.
Yeah. Speaking of, I want to thank the Watch Fam. Like just the hashtag Watch Fam. Like I've met so many people on that community. And then dovetailing into our podcast, there's several in the Watch Fam community that listen to us.
Yep.
Even when we don't talk about watches, which is really cool. So if you're in the Watch Fam, you're the goods.
We dig it, and we appreciate you listening in. I want to kind of also bring it back to Bellingham.
Sure.
We had the opportunity to interview a couple local folks. I want to give a special thanks to Katie Thomas with Moyat Realty for giving us a little bit of an insight into the housing situation. That was great to have a little bit of time to interview her, and also to a young man named Nick, who's one of our listeners. And as we were talking about cryptocurrency, he is a wealth of knowledge.
Yeah, he is.
And not even beginning to approach the prime of his life. Businesses out there. Nick Hill, look him up. He's going to be what you're looking for. Anyway, thanks once again for being part of the show, and we appreciate your insights and your input into cryptocurrency back then.
Yeah, that was cool. Along those same lines, I gotta give a shout out to the Dans. Okay.
The Dans, yes.
So we've got Dan, who I used to refer to as Dan in Cyprus, but he's no longer stationed there. Dan, who's goes by the handle DANC21CY on Instagram. He's part of the Watch Fam. He's the goods. Like, he's a collector. Look him up on Instagram. Super cool. And then the other Dan used to be Dan in Japan, no longer stationed there. He's the Rising Sun Sailor on Instagram. Both the Dans. Thanks for listening to the show.
And also, if you head down I-5 a little bit, a hike, if you will, there's a fellow who's a producer of a radio show on a local Seattle radio station, KNKX. Radio 88.5 if you're in Seattle, 88.7 if you're in Bellingham. Jeffrey Reddick, if you are listening, thanks so much for being part of our story and for allowing us to be part of your story, as you did a little bit of a Bellingham Connects feature just recently, a few weeks ago. Up here in 98225, 226, 227, 229. Great to make a connection with you. It was great to be part of your show, and we hope to be able to have you on our show sometime in the triple-digit zone of our episodes in the future.
Okay, well, by that standard, and because of the time frame that we're on right now, I'd like to thank, Bellingham's own KMRE 102.3 FM.
Low power.
Community radio here in the heart of the city of subdued excitement, because it's 15 minutes into the show.
Mm-hmm. That's right, and we also want to go up north to Vancouver to thank some special Watch Fam fellas that you were able to introduce me to that I was completely one, out of my league, and two, almost in awe of as far as the intricacies. But who are we giving a shout out to?
Yeah. So that would be Roldorf & Co. So when we did the episode of our travels on our American Railroad.
If you can get on an Amtrak train, it will eventually dump you off in Vancouver, BC. Hoof it to over to where Roldorf is at in Vancouver, and it's worth the trek, because oh my gosh, they are really talented at what they do, and they got a really great podcast.
Yeah. Well, the Roldorf Cafe. That's Jason and Howie. What's really the reason why I like them is because, especially if you have like an heirloom, like a watch, what's really cool about how their setup is, they have that open bench. Like, you literally, it's not like you're having somebody just take it in the back and then a couple weeks later it's all fixed. Like, they encourage you to watch the process, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Anyway, they're the goods.
And so, as you can tell, after you do all these kind of episodes, we just have been able to make so many friends and have so many people be joining us. This is pretty cool. Who else?
Okay, well, I will jump in. So I had to go back. One of the earliest shout-outs that we had was from Mike, from the Two Broke Watch Snobs.
Ah, yes.
So Mike and Kaz. Mike is down in Seattle, just south of us. and Kaz, he's over in Florida. And they run a show that has an explicit label, so if you have little ones, you may not want to play it in the car.
Bleep, bleep, y'all.
Yeah, but it's a great show. Like what the work that they have done to get the Two Broke Watch Snobs as a podcast and as a site, it's really cool because it brings down the kind of highbrow of like, oh, watches are expensive, go buy a Rolex, and they talk it in plain terms, and it's a nice palate cleanse, or a blankety blank palate cleanse. They're really colorful, but they're very knowledgeable. And I think it was Mike that gave us the shout out. So Mike, you're the goods. And if you ever make it to Bellingham, remember,
first round's on us.
First round's on us.
There you go. I want to give thanks to one of my influences, I would say, for almost a decade right now. I've been following this gentleman online. My social media handle is MinimalTech, MNMLTEK. I'm so minimal I don't like vowels that much, but I originally took a derivative of I made that as a derivative of this website called minimalmac.com, which was a great site about really it was almost the genesis of my journey into minimalism. And the curator of that website is a fellow by the name of Patrick Rohn. PatrickRohn.com, PatrickRohn.net. He is an author of many books and has been not only an influence in a good way in my life, but also I consider him a friend. I'm a friend of his family, and it's amazing what the internet can do, because I would never have thought that I could be able to have a good friendship by someone in Minnesota, Minnesota, over here in Washington, but through communications on the internet and social media. Yes, Virginia, there is a positive side of social media. I'm able to be friends with this fellow. So Patrick, thanks for all you've done to make my life better. And like AJ says, you're the goods.
Yeah. Along those same lines, a lot of, like I said, I've made a lot of connections through our show because of the Watch Fam. And for that entire, 50 or so episodes of when I decided to make a watch from scratch, I met a lot of, what's cool about the Watch Fam is like this hobby is quirky and weird, but everybody is very open. Like everybody just wants to help everybody.
It's welcoming, especially from someone like me who's got no watch experience other than it looks pretty.
Yeah. But like there were several times where I'd put out calls of this happened, or does anybody have any ideas, or anybody have any spare parts? Out of that, when I was doing my PNW 001, which is the watch that's been on my wrist pretty much permanently since I've got it up and ticking, there was a few out there that I put out a call of just like, does anybody have any knowledge in this? Buying on Time got back to me, and it was really encouraging, which was super great. He even offered, because he refurbishes old vintage watches and then resells them. Really cool site. Also really cool stickers, just saying.
Oh, yeah.
DM him on Instagram if you want some really skookum stickers. And also EA8, who does leather work and stuff. Several times I've pinged him, and his leather work is just really cool, all handcrafted. And I just wanted to thank those two guys.
And I think also, as we're wrapping up our thanks portion of this show, we probably want to give a shout out to the wonderful people who have supported us. With me in my newsletter that I had, who would subscribe to a weekly email inbox clutter that I would provide people of some life insights, and also you've got some Patreon folks out there.
Yeah, so Chris and I do the show totally out of our pocket. It's just our thing. But some of the Patreon patrons that I have are also listeners of the show. And there's one in particular I really want to thank, which is Becca. She's been a Skookum patron of mine since my inception of my whole Patreon campaign. And I just wanted to thank her.
In addition to that, I don't know if there's many additions we have. You know what is really happening right now? I've almost completed this candy corn shake as we've been talking. And now I'm starting to feel the sugar completely jack me up in a jittery kind of way. So
calm down.
I'm going to try.
Okay.
All right.
Stay hydrated.
I try to. Let's talk about what's coming up in our own respective worlds.
Well, let's start with you, actually. You no longer have quiet conversations.
Yeah, but I took a season from that. I kind of talked what I needed to talk about.
What is the next evolution?
I've been dancing around this idea a little bit. Over on the Instagram, you see a lot of photos that people submit, and of various types. And oftentimes you'll see a lot of motivation quotes or inspiring missives, pithy comments or something like that. And I'm looking at that, I'm like, I got some of those. So I went for it. And on my Instagram, Minimal Tech, I've started doing some quotable quotes or life insights, but it's a little bit of a twist. I really am a fan of
snark.
No, well, not really. It's more like, kind of like, okay, stop being on your high horse. Stop killing it at work. Stop crushing it at work. Okay, those are for beer. Those are for beer cans and bottles of alcohol when you kill and crush, respectively. Actually, just be a nice person. And be respectful of people, like as you're emailing. And I throw this little curveball in some of my quotes, and it's been kind of fun because I'd post a beautiful picture of various space in Bellingham, and I get maybe 4 or 5 likes, which is great. And thank you to those 4 or 5 people that would like my picture of
You're welcome.
trees. Yeah, exactly. You're one of them. But when I post something like of a life mindset or professional mindset, I get 30 or 40 likes. I'm really octupling my engagement. So I've been doing that just because it's fun. And I get to use this software called Canva, Canva.com. It's a graphic design site for those that are not.
It's a minimal design application.
It is, but I have zero graphic design skills. But yet it looks good when I put stuff together. So anyway, I've been working on doing some Instagram stuff, and also. I'm, speaking of that newsletter, I got to get off the stick. There's some stuff that I just really want to do something with. There's some really good stuff that I was able to share that I'm proud of, that took a lot of internal courage for me to hit publish to. And I kind of want to have that in another kind of format. So I'm working on another project sometime in the future. I don't know when. But just, I think that there's not enough genuineness and transparency in this world. And like we say, I'll go first.
Cool.
So, and then, by the way, outside of my professional tech work, I'm still teaching some technology classes at the community college here in town. I am your Google guy. So,
Captain Google.
Yeah, something like that. But anyway, I'm just trying to reevaluate my content creation in a way that I'm enjoying it and kind of trying to enjoy this fall season. Now, AJ, what the heck are you working on, amigo?
Well, my last thanks actually is to somebody in the watch fam. Nick over at Orion Watches. He's a recent graduate of the watchmaking school down in Seattle, and he also runs his own brand of watch called Orion. Killer design. But anyway, he's also, before that, he was in the watch modding community really heavily. He's like, in my book, he's like one of the mod fathers, right? Like, not Godfather, but mod father.
Well said.
Anyway, I recently reached out to him, and there's this one watch that I've been trying to get a hold of, and to no avail. And so he was getting rid of some parts. I DM'd him and bought a few parts off of him, and I'll be building another watch. You were correct. Some 60 episodes that the PNW 001 wouldn't be the last. But I'm going to do a restoration job. It's an SKX 031. Basically, it was Seiko's attempt at making something that looks like a Rolex Submariner, but for normal people. And
normal people for the rest of us.
Yeah, right. It's commonly referred to as a poor man's Submariner. And
cool.
So I've really wanted one, and I've really never been able to find the copy that it was worth it to me. And so Nick was so gracious to go through his probably gagzoots of parts bins, managed to find one in some well-loved condition, and I'm going to be learning a little bit more on it as I hopefully reconstruct it to its updated glory. You'll find out more.
Stay tuned in 2019 for that one, I would imagine, huh?
Yeah.
All right. Let's get to it. We've been in this for about 26 minutes now. Drop it, dude.
Okay.
Drop the announcement.
What episode was it that we named the Analog Explorers?
65, yo.
65. So on episode 65, I had set out on an adventure that my Patreon patrons have already been looped into. And since starting my Patreon, my end goal wasn't just to make a website or do these vlogs or anything like that. That was kind of just stuff to kind of get the creative juices going. Really, I wanted to create a publication. And I had a year ago come up with the name Analog Explorer, largely because I wanted to dovetail my photography into the real world, because a lot of the stuff that we talk about here on the show is the inundation of technology and how it is changing us. And in the photography world, it's greatly shifted us. And so I wrote a manifesto called a rogue wave of time and light, which if you're a photographer, that's what we do. We capture time and light. And out of it, I started going down the path of what would it take to create a magazine. And I'm using that term loosely because you've seen the proof copy.
I see your air quotes, but by cracky, it is a magazine.
It is a magazine, but it doesn't feel like a magazine. It's more like a soft-covered coffee table book, but it's in a magazine layout. It's called the Analog Explorer, and it's a first volume. It's going to be 20 pages, full color, full bleed graphics. And I'll be putting it up for sale here in a couple of weeks for a pre-order. And
line forms behind me, ladies and gentlemen, right here.
Actually, my Skookum patron already got the advanced copy. So
What?
Number 1 has already been sent out.
Oh, all right, fine.
But no, like this. You talk about transparency. This is the most transparent I've ever done in print, whether it was my previous publications or even online. Because online, I'm very guarded, and this is just me being me and my photography coming through it. And it's 20 pages of all original content, and I think it's probably some of the best design work I've done to date.
You can tell, and I've perused the draft copies of it as it's been in progress. You can tell that there's a lot of care and detail brought into this. The étouffée that you were creating in the kitchen is pretty darn tasty, and it's well laid out, and you can tell it's a personal touch, not something that is a mass-produced, we got to meet a deadline kind of thing. Some things cannot have a deadline. They're ready when they're ready, and this is ready.
Yeah, it took a while to get here. So anyway, you can take a look at. There's a, I don't know. It's a subscribe to my blog type of thing on my website.
Click the button if you know it's good for you.
Yeah, click the button. You can go to ajbarce.com or also the Analog Explorer. theanalogexplorer.com. It'll also take you to my website. And on there is a form that you can just put in your email. It'll send you a little confirmation saying that, hey, you want to subscribe to this. And when I make the announcement, it'll get delivered to your inbox for when you can pre-order it. I'm also planning on doing a local event. For any locals that want to pre-order it and bypass any shipping, I'm going to look at putting together a Analog Explorer meetup and actually hand give you, and over probably a cup of coffee, some date in December. So if you're a local and you want to meet the photographer as I sign and number it. Oh, that's the thing I should mention. This initial public offering, there's 2 editions of this. There's the Skookum edition, or the Analog Explorer SE, not special edition, it's Skookum.
The Skookum edition, okay, got it.
And then after all of those are going to be signed and numbered. So just like a traditional print from a photographer, right? It's a limited edition. I'm doing the same thing for the first run of these. They'll be signed and numbered, and once they're out, they're out. And then there'll be a regular edition that anybody around the world will be able to order and have shipped.
Sounds great.
Yeah, that's my big announcement.
Excellent. And probably more after episode 100 coming up next week. We'll be talking more about that.
Yes.
In the early triple digits.
Yes, early triple digits.
All right. I see that we are approaching the half-hour mark. Let's wrap this thing up.
That wraps it up for this 99th edition of the Bellingham Podcast. Thank you again so much for listening us, rating us, reviewing us, wherever you like to listen to us. Remember, if you're in the Bellingham area, you can always catch us twice a week on KMRE 102.3 FM.
Low power.
Wow, you are caffeinated and sugared up.
Yeah, yep. That's it. Yeah.
Community radio here in the heart of the city by the Salish Sea. On that note, I'm AJ Barce.
And I'm Chris Powell. Thanks once again for joining us on the Bellingham Podcast.
You are not allowed to have that drink ever again while we record.
Remind me next time I want to have a sugary drink. Just say no.